If you're one of the guys out there who like this kind of shit, this is the game you've been waiting for your whole life. Bushcraft Survival is like if Bass Pro Shop and Bear Gorilla got together with a good game developer and created something. I'm not gonna lie, I am not one of these kinds of guys, I'm one of these kinds of guys. So now I get to tell you how incredibly difficult this game was for a guy like me, and why a guy like you might absolutely love it. I was so unprepared for this game that when I watched the trailer, I thought this was a cozy game where you built a little cabin in the woods. Absolutely not. It starts off by asking you if you want to take a tutorial. Don't skip this unless you've played it. You get plopped into this beautiful mountain wilderness. Even if it's virtual, it's still pretty. So anyway, I went through with following the instructions, found a nice medium green tree to target and chop all the branches off. I'm not going to show you how long it takes for me to cut down every tree, but I do want you to see how long it takes me to cut down a tree so you understand my upcoming pain. Then it has you chop down a tree with your hatchet, which you'll find out later is the inefficient way to get that done. And then after you fell the tree, you have to find all the branches that still remain and cut all those off. It can be difficult to see the ones underneath the snow, but it's not the biggest deal. And then you have to select how you want to saw the tree up and to what purposes you'll be making it into. It turns out if you accidentally cancel the action, it defaults back into firewood while I was trying to cut up small poles. So I prepared another tree to turn into small poles, and it turned out it was too small of a tree to make into small poles. So I prepared another tree to cut up some small poles, but I accidentally canceled the action without realizing, and wind up creating even more firewood. I can literally start 15 fires at this point. So I fell another tree and get it all prepared, and finally... Oh, did you think I would have learned my lesson by now? So I took a small break, and after reflecting on my life decisions for a little bit, I came back and it was a success. I'd finally done it. And now the game wanted me to build something called a lean-to shelter. I'm sure these guys know what that is. I don't. I'm instructed to find trees that are an arm span apart, but I'm a virtual character, so I'm not really sure of my dimensions. Then I remembered that the guy in the trailer was building some kind of thing, so it clicks that must be the lean-on shelter. So I went off to go find 2 trees that are about that far apart, and lo and behold, I attached my first pole. And a second pole, and before you know it, I have a whole little structure going on here. I get told to open the Bushcraft guide so I can learn the rest of how to build a lean-to shelter. And look at this thing, it's such a cool little book. I find the section with lean-to shelter and start reading. Find out I need to cover it with boughs and moss. So I go to close the book so I can start looking around, and I'm gonna I chop the tree, saw the tree, build the thing, find some moss, cover the thing, and now we're back on track. The next step is building a fire. We know I can get the wood for that. I go and throw down some tinder that I'd found earlier, and then throw those logs right on top of there. I see the number 4 and assume I need 4 logs, not realizing that it says branches. And so I believe I have my whole little fire built, but it won't allow me to light it. It just keeps saying there's no kindling present. This threw me for a loop because my whole life, I thought kindling and tinder were the same thing. When I was a little kid, we would just grab this shit off the ground, throw it in a pile, and then add some lighter fluid, and now you have a fire. And every time I would go camping, my parents or grandparents would just say, go grab some kindling. I never knew. So I cracked back out the Bushcraft survival guide, but found out there was nothing in here on how to build a fire. So I went to Google, confirmed that kindling is not tinder, so I just have to close down the book. So with my newfound knowledge, we're now making a fire correctly. After a little lag, it spawns to life. And then you go to bed, completing the tutorial and unlocking a satellite phone, because apparently you could have left the whole time. But before we leave, we can freestyle learning how to melt snow for drinking water first. At first I was just gonna say fuck it and leave, but then I realized I don't even know how to equip the phone to try to leave. After a while, I realized you're supposed to drag things down into the smallest icons in the UI. And at that point I realized I should really learn how to make water first. So I got out my bucket and I filled it up with snow and realized I had no idea how to put it on the coals of the fire as described in the survival guide. But luckily, I noticed this large drop item thing in the UI. It's definitely not what the developer intended, but it'll work for now. After a 1 minute wait, I tried to pick it up, and apparently you can't do that too soon or you just wasted all your time. I should have known snow couldn't burn, but here we are. I go ahead and set up to let the snow boil again, and it does count down to 0 and appear like there's water in it. Somehow the coals wound up on top of it, so I had to clear those off. But before you know it, it begins counting up again. It's probably from me doing it this dumbass way. But only one more try and it was good to go. So, now that I did that, it's time to call in the chopper, and it turns out you actually have to be in a wide open area. Makes sense. So I go to the middle of the open area, I call in the chopper, he comes in, scoops me up, and gets me the fuck out of there. When I get back to the main survival menu, I find out that this is a planned thing. These motherfuckers are going on vacation doing this. In that case, I'll do a week. I start gathering up all the wood I'm gonna need. I'm starting to feel like a professional at it now. I get my whole little thing built. Get me a nice little fire going. Whip me up some water to drink. Everything going nice and smooth. My first day was a complete success, so I went to sleep and woke up to a beautiful morning. Figured I'd try and learn how to hunt. Seems like the first step would be to carve up a dry branch using a knife. See, I'm definitely getting the hang of this now. Step 2 would be to drive it into the ground using the back of the hatchet, and then just attach some wire. No problems there either. I'm really becoming an outdoorsman. Now to get the wire out somehow. Doesn't equip there. I can't drop it. Oh, I don't have any. But how much food do I have? Okay, no need to panic. I can just check over the Bushcraft survival guide thing. I definitely can't do this without a wire. What about fishing? Can I go fishing? I remember that one movie that Anthony Hopkins fished with just some shit in his pocket. But no, I need a fishing rod, which I do not have. Now what the fuck do I do? You just have to continue on. I found myself digging a deep hole for the snow I needed to drink. Stayed tending to the fire. I tried giving an offering to the fire gods, but got no response. Let's see if we can take down the forest with us. Nope. At some point, I remembered my map. I could leave a marker here and go out and try to find some kind of safety or food, maybe. I wandered for in-game hours until I eventually gave up. And to make matters even worse, once I'd opened my map, I had traveled too far. My marker was gone. I began racing back the way I'd come. At the very least, maybe I could find my camp again. When I finally found it, my psychosis had finally taken hold. Trees I could have sworn cutting down, reappearing where they once fell. In an attempt to clear them out, I destroyed my shelter. I realized that the hole I was digging was never for water, but for my own grave. Oh shit, wait, bitch, I got a satellite phone. I get it equipped so I can try to call it in? What do you mean? What do you mean it's too early? What do you mean it's too early? What do you... I guess I have to go peacefully. Oh look, there's a bunch of neat little skills. Now look, I do know that I'm really dumb, but a lot of these changes are just good regardless. For starters, all games should always include quick confirmations. That's all I'm saying on that. You should definitely change around the in-game UI layout so that the handheld items are significantly larger, and all we have to do for that is cut into the space that this gigantic drop item button is taking up. It would be best if, while the tree's on the ground, it prioritizes being cut up in its largest form it can be, and then works its way down, because we can continue chopping things smaller, but we can't do that in the opposite direction, obviously. It would also be neat if the saw prioritized cutting down a tree rather than branches, but I don't know how much easier that one would be. And there's like a million other things I could say, but Bushcraft Survival is in a very early stage right now, so I mean, I could touch on smoother animations, I could touch on expanding the tutorial, expanding the Bushcraft Survival Guide, adding pitch variation to the sound effects, or brands to up the variety in the tools, but like these are things that they're probably already planning anyway, you know? So I just figured I'd focus on making it idiot-proof more than anything else. And this has been a long-ass video to record already, for reasons you've already seen. So, if you ever do a bunch of updates and you want me to come back through, I'm more than happy to. If you got any questions, just let me know. I will never play this game in my free time, though. That's just... Yep. Bye.